Hello from amazingly beautiful Porto. I'm just sitting here by the beautiful river, breathing in and out. And while I was sitting here, I was thinking about something that I think that a lot of creatives are dealing with. And when you're watching this, chances are that you are a designer working with food or a creative chef. And I know this is something that I think almost everybody who's human is dealing with, and almost no one is talking about this. Let me just give you an impression on what I think of. So when you are working in the creative field, then chances are you started doing that because you feel innately inspired to create. You feel that there's this creative drive or creative force that comes to you, that once you start working on the very thing that fascinates you, that you might lose track of time, that you like to experiment, you like to invent new things, you like to explore in your field the very thing that that nourishes your creative vibration. And many times this is why we start doing this, because it's not the easiest job to do. If you don't have this creative vibe, then probably you don't choose for this kind of career. So you know how this feels. So you start doing this because this is what you like to do. But then, in many cases, somewhere along the line you get lifed. You get busy, there are deadlines, there are bills to pay, maybe there are kids. I have 3 kids, and I know that, sometimes it feels that there's just not enough arms and legs on my body to just deal with regular life, let alone also just come up with creative ideas, to find this kind of creative sanctuary. At least that's what I used to think. And you might think that not being able to have time for your creative development is a normal thing. You might think that, that's just the way it is. When we grow up, we have to pay the bills, and maybe when I get really successful somewhere in the future, I will have time for that again. I used to think that, but I don't think like that anymore. I think there are actually ways to deal with that. Because imagine that, of course there is life, I would never want to miss the time I spend with my children. Of course there is bills to pay and deadlines to catch. That's just all part of the game. But what if in between all of that you do have ways to nourish your creative soul? You do have ways to play around and experiment and find that mental space to always go back to. Because I see a lot of creative people who just start to repeat the creative ideas that they once figured out. I see a lot of creative people that actually start to copy other people's work. I see a lot of creative people that make mediocre work just because they don't have any mental space to really deeply dive into the work. And it's not about being a creative genius. It's really about just knowing how to do it, knowing how to find this mental space to always work on your creative expansion, on your creative development. And it's not something, and I see this problem a lot, I see that a lot, that people just, like, when they start off with this passion of doing things, and then after a couple of years they get children, or maybe if you don't have children, still there's so much to do in your life that they just don't see how to figured it out. But I don't think you need to wait before you are successful or have a lot of money or a lot of other kind of excuses to then finally have time to work on your creative development. No, I don't believe that. I think you can already start doing that right now. I found a couple of methods actually to enable myself to have mental space and creative freedom to continue developing, to continue shaping my creative practice. One of the ways that I am using is creative meditation. But that is one of the practices that I use daily to make sure that I don't stand still in my creative development. And I will be sharing my practices and my tools in my online course that I will be launching on December the 3rd. This is not for everybody. If you are a designer working with food, if you are a creative chef though, this might be something you want to look into. I'll post something, a little link below this video. But what I would like to start is this discussion on what do you do to nourish your creative vibe, to make sure your creative expansion is vibrating, that you don't actually let your creativity die in the mundaneness of regular life. So what do you do? What do you find to make sure that you are developing, that you are creating, that you have the mental space to actually nourish your soul? Because it's not just to do your job. You know, being a creative person is what you are. It is what you need to nourish to be able to live a rich and full life. I really believe that. It's not just about catching the deadlines or making work that is competing with other people. No, it's about pure creation, just for the sake of creation, for the sake of pure joy, playfulness and experimentation and exploring the world in a creative way. I do really believe that. I think it has a huge importance, especially in a time where humans might be replaced by computers in the future. Creativity is something that makes us human, that is our way to express ourselves, and that does require attention. It does require to spend time on, and not only physical time, also emotional and mental time. So please do share, what do you do and how can we address this? Because I know this is something that most creatives have to deal with and are struggling with. And I know that there's ways out as well. So you can just sit here by the water and breathe and enjoy. All right. Well, I'm really looking forward to hear your thoughts on this.